Hi everybody, my name is Sarah, Pearls of Wisdom and Food with Keto Under 20. And I gave you a homework assignment last weekend. And it was to go to the sugar science, yeah, that's just about it from the lobbyists and the food manufacturers, right? Some of the truest things were spoken in error. And so I had requested you to go to Sugar Science and check out that website and see where it leads you, and also to go to YouTube and put in extra sugar in foods and see where that leads you, or the danger of extra sugar added to food, something like that. And so the assignment was to watch a few and to read a few articles and to see if you learn anything new about the dangers of sugar that you didn't know before, care to know about before, poo-pooed before, and now you might be ready to hear it. Nothing like a diagnosis of pre-diabetic to make you begin to see that added sugar could contribute to your health. And so my first one was I headed to the rec center to do my brisk 45, and I was listening to, as many of you know, I often recommend to listen to Canadian broadcasts, or BBC British broadcasting, or Australian, because they're much more open about sugar and the dangers of it than American people are, because we are driven 100%, maybe even 150%, if there is such a thing, by the food industry squashing information that could harm our health that we might want to know about. And over there, they have the pressure of our food manufacturers on them, but they also have minds of their own, and they will actually do things their way. And so the first documentary that I listened to came from Britain, and it was about these 4 people that had extra sugar in their food plan. And the deal was they were supposed to get down to 6 teaspoons of sugar a day. And as we know today, in 2017, a woman is supposed to have no more than 6 added teaspoons of sugar, and a man is not supposed to have more than 9 teaspoons of added sugar per day. And so this particular documentary that I was listening to was talking about how that looks like in a year. Like say you only had the 6 teaspoons of sugar, but it was 6 teaspoons too much, how much that would add up to in a year with teaspoons of sugar, and what it would do to your health. And of course they were talking stone for pounds and things like that. So I didn't know where a lot of them were coming from. One man was addicted to, he called it fizzy soda. So it'd be like the Coca-Cola type thing. Another woman was addicted to just buying the frozen foods, frozen processed foods that had, for meals, like living out of the freezer, and the sugar included in those. And then there were 2 others. One was just gaining weight, and she was an eat-on-the-fly type of woman who was making improper choices, and I can't remember the 4th one. But the woman eating the processed foods was talking about the traffic light food label. It was a proposed law for Britain, not unlike the New York City one with the you can't buy a large soda because of the sugar in it. And so this one was a traffic light. And so different colors meant different things. And it seemed brilliant. But alas, the food lobbyists got to their version of the Senate, or the people that would vote on making it a law, and it didn't pass. But it seemed really, really brilliant. This woman was getting a lot out of it. I guess some food manufacturers just started to do it anyway before the law was passed, so they'd already be on board. And kind of fascinating. So red, of course, meant stop, green meant okay, and yellow meant, with caution. And I was liking that. That's on the front of the box. And she was noticing all these places, and she was wondering why she liked certain items, and it was because of all the added sugar. And a lot of them were noting in this documentary that people were putting sugar in things that didn't used to be sweet, like barbecue sauce and salad dressings and things like that, and not in the obvious places. But all these sauces that, like the sweet and sour sauce, forget about it. And so it seemed like such an interesting, logical thing, and I was liking it. And so I came home and decided to do just a podcast about what didn't happen, because it was just kind of fascinating in the process of things. And some people that were very sensitive to the intake of sugar and the obesity and all of the other chronic diseases, and they made obesity a disease. So now, and that's why there's treatment for it, and that's why doctors can prescribe things, and that's why pharmaceutical companies love that. But, that's very American, and you are already used to the pharmaceutical company having a pill for that. Not a cure that could be done with food and dietary changes, but just take a pill and continue to eat the way that you are. And here's the American Heart Association or the American Diabetes Association pyramid of food. Have those 6 to 11 servings of carbs and grains and la, la, la. And, for those of you that are a strict or disciplined keto person, and you're already here because you know that. All right. So assume this is from Britain, because it is. And just in, the efforts that they were making and what they came up with that thought they were smart. I just thought this was good for educational purposes. So, as if it passed, but it didn't. Why Britain has traffic light food labels. The preventable epidemic diseases, 2 of the main obstacles to prevention, and the labels were explicit. The strengths and weaknesses of the traffic light labels. They make healthy shopping easier. They reward producers of healthier products. Could they confuse people? Do they have to be negative? Foods near the boundaries. Colored labels and the colorblind. Healthy foods with red and amber lights. Unhealthy foods with green lights. Why Australia needs traffic light labels. Child health, adult health, prevention, and adult health treatment. The backlash. Kellogg, United Kingdom, leads the drive for labels they can live with. What is Kellogg's telling us? What does it mean? How to use the percentage daily intake counter. No wonder Kellogg Australia acted so quickly. The feasibility of reformulating Nutrigrain. Resolving the conflict, the unequal conflict. Public health should be evidence-based. The need for time. Why Britain has traffic light food labels. Well, they don't. But the preventable epidemic diseases. Most modern societies have alarming epidemics of overweight, obesity, and type 2 diabetes 2 and 3. 3 is Alzheimer's. And those who reach middle age have 90% risk of high blood pressure before they die. High blood pressure and obesity are two of the main risk factors for serious epidemics of heart disease, chronic heart failure, stroke, and kidney failure. So dietary excess is too much fat, saturated fat, sugar, and salt. Lifestyle errors, inadequate physical exercise, and or excess alcohol. 2 of the main obstacles to prevention are moderation. And they never defined moderation. So the explicit food labels, green is low in fat, green is low in saturated fat, high is sugar, medium is salt. This is the multiple traffic light. And so the strengths and weaknesses, they make healthy shopping easier. They reward producers of healthier products. The Heart Foundation tick has already demonstrated that it increases sales. Could they cause confusion? Yes. Showing a mixture of different lights is in the example shown above. So the fat green means low fat and good health. Amber means fatty enough to need care to avoid weight gain. Red means too fatty for either prevention or treatment of obesity. So you can see how it suddenly got so confusing. Here's another one. How did Britain get so fat? Oh, that looks like the standard American diet now, doesn't it? And so, a trip to England's fattest town reveals why Britain's obesity epidemic shows no signs of stopping. In the days before Colonel Sanders was born, before Ronald McDonald was even a gleam in his creator's eyes, 4,000 ships would set sail from Whitehaven every year in search of exotic wares and foods. These days, the food is rather close to home. Just a short stroll from the town's marina, here is Italy in the form of the Milano takeaway. Buy one, get one free. Next door, it's China, where dinners at the Jasmine Palace can enjoy 7 courses for £12.90. Don't know what that means. Just eat. Anyway, look at that. Excess weight, number of percentage of obese or overweight. Look at those colors. That's London. And we gave them this, right? We gave them all the fast food and so on and so forth. So the traffic lights did not make it. And the traffic light labeling did not make it as the New York law to only allow a small soda did not pass. So you know that the lobbyists and the food manufacturers are in full force trying to make things, oh, look at, I'm shrinking in this. You know that the food manufacturers work very, very hard at preventing these things from being passed. And so I just wanted to show you, if you really want to do your homework, watch American doctors like Robert Lustig talk about sugar on YouTube and TED Talks, and also British, Australian, or Canadian documentaries all about sugar, because you're going to get more truth from them than you will from our sugar industry, our lobbyists, our governments just rubber stamping things to make sure that there is no changes, because the pharmaceuticals and the subsidized soybean, wheat, and corn fields that make the fructose corn syrup don't want things messed with, because that's where their profits come from. So just having a critical eye for the stuff that's out there. This has been Sarah, Pearls of Wisdom and Food. Look out for those traffic lights. They'll get you. Thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye for now.